afternoon to you. A very happy Mother's Day to our mothers out there. You are on to Rubbing Minds. I'm Aduria Chumba, filling in for Ebuka Obi Uchendu. Now, Nigeria's had a very exciting week, and we are definitely going to be bringing you up to speed on all that took place. But in the meantime, let's check out what's in the headlines today. First, let's start off with news from South Africa, where the ANC President Jacob Zuma has won the South African presidential election. The incumbent African National Congress, ANC, won South Africa's fifth post-apartheid election and the first since the death of Nelson Mandela. According to provisional results, the opposition Democratic Alliance did make major gains. The ANC won an overwhelming 62.2% of the votes, according to provisional results released by the South African Electoral Commission on Friday. As a consequence, Jacob Zuma is set to serve a second five-year term as president. Although the ANC's victory was decisive, its showing in Wednesday's election was weak compared to its previous performances. The party of the late anti-apartheid leader Nelson Mandela had won 65.9% of the votes in 2009. And Nelson Mandela's African National Congress, ANC, suffered only small losses and stays in power. The opposition, as we said, made some gains, but remains weak.
After many months of campaigns, controversies, and some coalitions that never quite worked out, it all comes together here at the IEC Election Results Operations Center in Pretoria, the outcome of the 2014 general elections in South Africa.
It now gives me great pleasure to announce the final results.
On the dot of 6 p.m. local time, the auditorium soon filled up.
The Economic Freedom Fighters, 25 seats. The Democratic Alliance, 89 seats. And finally, the majority party in our fifth National Assembly with a total of 249 seats is the African National Congress.
We are delighted and humbled that they have yet again chosen the African National Congress. We are particularly moved by the fact that we accept this overwhelming mandate.
I think we worked hard in this election. It's good to have seen the results as we've got. I think it shows great improvement.
I feel ecstatic. I'm very happy and yet very humbled. I think this is a vote of confidence from the people of South Africa to us as the party.
We dedicate this victory to our beautiful girls in Nigeria. We're saying to them, it might look difficult wherever you are, but we're coming to fetch you. Africa will never rest until those girls are released.
33-year-old Julius Malema was expelled from the ANC and leads an 8-month-old party, which made it to top 3 in the general elections.
And that was a report by Betty Debia, Channels Television South African correspondent. And the Future Africa Awards has entered its 9th season with a formal launching of the Future Awards and Summit for 2004. And this happened at the closing gala of the Shape Africa 2004, which is an annual regional meeting of global shapers from Africa, and it held between May 5th and 7th in Abuja at the World Economic Forum. Signaling the commencement of the voting, Adebola Williams, co-founder of the awards, said, as the world focuses on Africa, with global leaders weighing in on our most pressing solutions, we are excited to launch yet another season of the premier event for Africa's young leaders. Voting for the award, which is supported by Microsoft, the U.S. Consulate, and the Tony Elumelu Foundation, will end on June the 12th. According to organizers of the awards, only youths from Africa, of African origin rather, aged 18 to 31 are eligible for nomination into any of the 10 categories of the awards. And Stephen Keshi has released a 30-man provisional list for the World Cup. Super Eagles head coach Stephen Keshi on Tuesday in Abuja named the list of his squad for the 2014 FIFA World Cup set to hold in Brazil this summer. The team is highlighted by the return of skipper Joseph Yobo, as well as striker Osaze Odemwingie, who has been out of favor for a couple of years. And of course, we all wish them a successful campaign in Brazil. Make sure you bring the cup back, boys. And more news about young people, and this time from the happenings at the World Economic Forum on Africa, the Young and Restless panel, which was a highlight at the World Economic Forum event that just concluded in Abuja last week. On the youth panel were participants such as the co-chair of the WEF Africa, Benita Diop, the founder and managing director of Mara Group, Ashish Thakkar, who is also the youngest billionaire in Africa. Also on the panel, co-founder of Africa Unleashed, Zamatungwa Khumalo, the chief CEO, or rather, the chief executive officer, Afro Chic Ghana, Essie Cleland, group managing director and CEO of Shoreline Energy International, Kola Kareem. This session was moderated by Channel's television news anchor, Makwe Ogun, and here's some highlights from that session.
While we were in the holding room, I told them that I'm going to ask them the very first question. Do they believe, the panelists here believe, that Africa's youth have taken their own destiny into their own hands and are shaping their future? Kola, I'm going to start with you.
Africa's youth has done something radical. The last 20 years has shown the growth in Africa. You could correlate that to this generation of Africans. The reason is, compared to our father's generation, we have decided we want a different Africa to live in, to grow up in, and also to build a better life for ourselves. If you look at the history of what a lot of countries in Africa have come, where they've come from independence, a lot of these countries were handed over to people who were trained and educated by the colonial masters. So they were taught in a certain type of way to run a polity. 60% of the continent of Africa today, from the numbers, are under the age of 30. So if you see the radicalization of what is going to happen and is happening, is transforming the continent, is the focus of the youth from areas of e-commerce, telecommunications. It's a different ballgame. And the main difference is this: we want a better continent.
You see the bright spots, you see those of us that are really stepping up and wanting to shape the future. But I think that because of the particular challenges that we have, we need to dream really big. We need to carve out really bold solutions. And it's hard to dream big from nothing, right? The way that you get to the point where you're able to dream really big is that you start with small dreams. So maybe your first small dream is you want to go to a particular high school, and then you're able to go. So you realize, actually, there are no limits. And so whatever world you want to see, you can create. And I think that possibly because of some of our economic challenges, not enough of us are dreaming even the small dreams, so that we can, be emboldened by our successes with the small dreams to get to the point where we are really looking around us and saying, I want to conquer poverty. We're living.
Just some of Africa's young and restless there. And if you'd like to get more on the World Economic Forum, do visit Channel's TV website for the highlights of the entire summit. All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we are talking the state of the nation. It's been an exciting week, albeit highly negative in Nigeria's media space, but we will be speaking to someone who can help us put some light to all that is happening, especially from the perspective of young leaders. We'll be right back.